Hello and welcome to the Radical Podcast, inspired by the essence of the word radical, proceeding from the root. We explore the roots of metaphysical wisdom.
This season is all about divination, tarot, and the power held within our intuition. This is The Radical with Nicole and Christina, the two metaphysical girls in the material world.
Hello, welcome to the Radical Podcast. This is Christina.
And I'm Nicole.
Today we are covering the tarot card, the Empress card number. What is card number? Card number 3. Card number 3 for Taurus season.
It's our last card during Taurus season, and we're covering it during Taurus season because this is the planet Venus's card, and Venus is domiciled in Taurus.
This is such a Venus heavy card. So many aspects of this card, and we'll talk about the themes and a little drops of history and then our card comparison. I'm going to start going down the list so that we can start right away talking about the cards that we have in our personal decks. And I want to start with the name of this card is the Empress. You might also see it called Mother or the Mother, or something like Mother Nature or Earth Mother. The card number is number 3.
The number 3 can symbolize the manifestation waiting period, creativity, acknowledgement, community, and collaboration. I have some lovely quotes from the book Messages in the Numbers by Alana Fairchild. She says, the 3 brings a playful and healing message of well-being and signals new life is beginning. The 3 can indicate birth, but it can also be the birth of a new talent, new phase of life, or new career. The 3 tells us that fatigue is a sign our energy is just going in directions that aren't conducive to our well-being, with too much going out and not enough coming in. I definitely see that idea or that theme with this card. And we'll probably talk about it throughout, but this idea of maybe being in our yang energy too much versus our yin energy. Alana Fairchild also says this, the feeling of well-being, creativity, flourishing energy, and life are all qualities of the 3.
And that's the Empress.
And then this teeny bit more. So the message for creating the unity and harmony we desire is that we don't have to try to be singular in order to be integrated. We don't have to be just one person or have one side to our personality. It is about accepting our differences within us and with each other. And from that place of absolute acceptance, things can flow more easily, especially when we surrender to allowing creation to happen. Healing, creativity, and well-being, the hallmarks of the 3, are not things we can force to occur. They are things that happen naturally when we are in the right frame of mind, doing particular actions that feel supportive and appropriate for us.
Yes. That just fit right there because we're starting off right away with the themes of this card. So we start with the number, and we start with the name. We're going to talk about the planet. The element is Earth, and that embodies stability, practicality. This Earth is physical reality. The Empress is a physical world card. Also material wealth. It governs aspect of home, health, work, money, grounding. The modality is fixed. Then the fixed modality is, again, stability, determination, and persistence. They're like the anchors of the zodiac signs. They solidify the energy initiated by cardinal signs or that cardinal energy. The polarity for this card is yin. And that is, yin is the characteristics of being receptive, sensitive, nurturing, intuitive, imaginative. This is the elements of night and earth. There's a softness to yin energy, a moisture. There's also an element of sadness, being contemplative. And yin energy, when we talk about the principles from our Chinese medicine, is it's downward seeking, slow, consuming, cold, and restful. Although this is the card, and we'll get into it, we'll talk about the Grain Mother, but also it's a deep, deep, deep connection to the earth. Is this a yes or no card? If you're doing a yes or no tarot pull, this is a yes. Good things take time, though. The zodiac sign would be tied to Taurus and Libra, but that's because of the planet Venus. This card is ruled by the planet Venus. And Venus, everything that we've talked about and more, affection, style, taste, sensitivity, creativity, love, beauty, harmony, relationships, values, finances, but also rebirth, victory, sovereignty, ownership. There's an element of the circle of life in Venus. And that would be, the Venus rules the second house. I just realized Venus rules 2 houses because it also rules Libra's house.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the second house with Taurus, and Libra is the
7th, I believe.
7th house. Yeah, Venus has 2 houses. The Hebrew letter associated with the Empress tarot card is the letter Daleth. The symbol is door. In a way, you think about the door as the gateway or the entrance, as in that womb energy of birthing and being introduced, that sort of doorway. And the meaning is attainment. The Tree of Life has the Empress card in the 4th pathway between the 3rd sphere of Binah, the sphere of understanding, ruled by Saturn, and the 2nd sphere of Shakma, the sphere of wisdom, ruled by Neptune. Also, Binah generally is the feminine principle sphere, and Shakma is the masculine principle sphere. Yes, I have that right. I have my giant workbook next to me, and every now and then I'm just like, I just kind of look down at it to make sure I'm like, The chakra, I feel like this is very much a sacral chakra. The Svadhisthana translates to one's own place or the seat of the self. And this is the 2nd primary chakra located in the lower abdomen, the pelvic bowl. This could be associated with the color orange, the water element. It has a crescent moon in its yantra, which is the graphic representation of the chakra. And it governs creativity, sensuality, emotions, and pleasure. But you may feel a stronger connection to a different chakra, listeners. This is just one that I feel really, really connects to the Empress card. And then, if you want more of my opinions, listeners, now let's talk about crystals. There's several. You can do the emerald or green. The emerald is the birthstone for Taurus season. And one of my books had orange carnelian, orange calcite, which makes sense if you think about this time of year, but also connection to the sacral chakra and that creativity and that energy. Rose quartz is the one that stood out to me the most. Rose quartz, embodying that same Empress qualities of nurturing love. And it's the stone of unconditional love and the stone of self-love and compassion and emotional healing. So it, in my opinion, it would work really well with the Empress's energy, particularly if you are feeling resistant to this card. Rose quartz and that element of self-love and self-healing might help you understand and blend with the energies better. Because sometimes I'm a little resistant to to those like all-encompassing self-love emotional type things. I have a piece of rose quartz that is sort of a flattish sphere. If you look at it from one angle, it looks like an egg, but if you look at it from the other angle, it's round.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, oh, I wonder if this has a shape. And as I'm working on my notes, listeners, I realized that I have the internets available to me. And I typed in, what is a flattened sphere object called? And it's an oblate spheroid. And guess what? It is kind of the shape of the Earth. Because the Earth is spinning so fast and it is so warm, and also the water makes it look like it's a little bit bulging at the equator, that they think that the Earth might look a little bit like this. So I'm like, so it's even more Empress to me because of that deep connection to the Earth. And it has a little lavender hue to it, and it feels really good in my hand. It's like the perfect size to like roll between my palms and give myself a myofascial hand massage. But that jumped out at me, listeners. So look through your personal collection. You might just have a beautiful stone. You might just have a bunch of acorns. Oh, acorns would be an amazing representation of the Empress card. But if you're looking at crystals, you got anything pink, rose quartz, or green for Taurus, give that crystal a little time in your hands if you're working on the energy of the Empress. I'll talk a little bit about the symbols, and we'll talk a lot more about symbols when we get into card comparison. And some of these have a lot of historical pieces to it. And the card tradition that Nicole and I primarily refer to is the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. The Venus symbol is on almost every card Nicole and I have, right? And the Venus symbol, and I remember Nicole is the one who said this, that it is the shape of a hand mirror, which is a deep connection to Venus and to that self-love. Oh, I love that. I don't remember what podcast we were doing, but that has stuck in my head. And I'm like, that is exactly what I think of. The crown on a lot of our empresses is a symbol of authority. A lot of times the Empress might have a scepter or some kind of rod, or a shorter one like a baton with various different symbols on it. And the symbols are her sovereignty over the material world. So it could be a globe, it could be a pomegranate. Mine has a pomegranate. The Rider-Waite-Smith has a globe, and that is her sovereignty over the earthly domain. The crown of 12, the 12 stars, can be, or what most deeply connected to me, is a representation of the various methods of timekeeping. There are 12 cycles seen repeating in our natural world. We have the 12 zodiac signs in our wheel of the year. Then we have the 12 hours on the clock. And her crown shows her rule over that timing. There's an element of allowing time to be in the like allowing time to take its time. Like all good things will come in time, and not to rush into anything. Is that kind of the same thing you saw with the 12?
I learned that they can represent the 12 zodiac signs.
Mm-hmm. And it's the natural, like, I should just read my notes. Look, I wrote it here. Shows her rule over natural order of things, seasons, growth, and passages of time. There's often a type of bounty or harvest around here. Wheat and corn are two symbols of the Empress and, again, seasons of time, harvest, bounty, abundance, fertility. Specifically, these sort of man-made crops, man-tilled fields, and that kind of thing, showing the physical world connection. The pomegranate on the Rider-Waite-Smith Empress's robes, and then my Secrets of the Witch's Garden has a pomegranate. Do any of yours have pomegranates?
I think you could possibly interpret pomegranates on my Zodiac Tarot deck, and definitely in my Mystic Mondays. There's a pomegranate.
Nice. The pomegranate is a representation of, like, it's like rich with sweet seeds. It has a feminine vibe to it. And it's also a symbol of fertility and lush, and also like femininity and beauty and luxury. This is a deep connection to Persephone and already the Empress as Demeter, as the grain goddess. And the story of those deities is the wheel of the year, is the passage of time, is the difference between growing season and dying season, and the civilized and the uncivilized world, the underground and the above ground. The color red symbolizes vitality, passion, but also death and rebirth, the blood, the cycles, the feminine menstrual cycle. Lots of yellow, abundance, clear thinking, and energy in that bright yellow. And here is when we make our Radical Podcast trivia game. This is a question for that. In the Empress's necklace of the Rider-Waite-Smith tradition, she has a necklace of 7 pearls. What are the 7 pearls representations of?
Mine might have 8.
It's the 7 planets. That was what I read. But again, is that a true thing? Or is that just like what we can see or what we can't see? Is the 8th just like Uranus sneaking out behind Saturn?
I swear mine has 8. That's so funny.
That'll be one for the trivia books, listeners. Or does it mean anything? And yours is much more clear than mine. Mine looks like she has 5. Themes: physical world, creation, creativity, and timing. That's it. And everything else, and life, death cycles, wheel of the year, all the things. But that's my list. Let's get into our cards.
My first Empress card is from Zodiac Tarot. We have an Empress seated on her throne, surrounded by lush plants bearing fruit, possibly pomegranates. In her right hand, she's lightly holding her scepter. And her right hand, the right side, is generally the yang side. Her left palm, her yin side palm, is open and receptive, and she's gently gazing at her left palm. So if you remember back when we did the Emperor, I said that in this deck, in Zodiac Tarot, the Emperor is holding his scepter in his left yin hand. And I think it's really interesting that the artist did this, because to me it's conveying this idea that even a card that represents the embodiment of yin energy, nothing is really truly pure yin or pure yang we think about the yin yang symbol, and there's always a dot of
Mm-hmm.
yang within the yin and a dot of yin within the yang. And I love how that was something I was considering when I was looking at my cards. How does the yang energy show up?
Mm-hmm. And there's also this whole thing where our our polarity changes in relationship to the environment that we're in. Something that is yin when it's cold outside could be yang when it's hot outside. So we're also able to switch between the two energies in relationship to what we need to be. Com-
Exactly.
Compared to the emperor, the empress is yin, but the empress compared to another card could be more yang.
From the guidebook, she says, the Empress is the one who gives life, be it a new human or a project, idea, or vision. She is creative chaos, substance before it takes shape, the ability to love, care for, nourish, protect, and grow.
I'm starting with the Spirit Song Tarot. It is the 3 called the Empress. The spirit animal is, in the guidebook, it says rabbit. And the keywords are beauty and abundance. I went down a rabbit hole
Ha
on the
ha
difference
ha.
between rabbits and hares. The picture on this card is a hare. First, I'll tell you that a group of hares is called a husk or a down. A group of rabbits is called a colony or a herd, and sometimes they're called a warren, but a warren is generally the burrow that rabbits live in. Hares are larger with longer ears and long legs. They live above ground in like just little like bowl shaped uh, impressions in the ground, and they're generally solitary or just live in a pair, and they are incredibly fast runners. Rabbits are small, their bodies are very close to the ground, they are social, they live in burrows with multiple other rabbits. The baby rabbits are called kits, and they're born blind, hairless, and helpless, whereas a baby hare, which is called a leveret, is born fully furred and ready to go. They're different species, a hare and a rabbit. The picture in the spirit song to me looks like a hare, but the author has it called a rabbit. So just something to think about, listeners, when you're thinking about the energies of these animals and how they come off to you and how they feel to you. A spirit animal for a hare symbolizes intuition, fertility, rapid transformation, and creative manifestation. As a guide, it can symbolize leaps of faith, quick wit, balancing intuition with agility to overcome obstacles. They're very fast, agile animals, hares. And the hare energy is very feminine. There's an element of fertility with hares and rabbits. You can't overlook that. And for a hare, new beginnings. The rabbit as a spirit animal is very, very similar, but just a little, I almost said a hair different. Just a little different. So the rabbit is alertness, fertility, abundance, quick thinking, and it could be your guide to move fast, to be observant, to listen, to adapt, to look for new opportunities, creativity, and swift and necessary changes.
My next card is from the Antique Anatomy Tarot. So we have greenery growing out of a body. The top half of the body is the spinal cord, the rib cage, and lungs. And the lower half is like literally fleshed out, but we can see a femur bone on the left side of the body, which is the yin side. The femur bone is the longest, strongest, and heaviest bone in the body. And when we talked about the emperor, we discussed this, and Christina mentioned it again. But yin and yang are relative terms that must exist in relationship to each other. The emperor in this deck, the quadricep muscles were visible on the right side. And in relationship to each other, bones are yin and muscles are yang. So again, kind of looking at that yin and yang relationship, at the duality between these two cards. In my Medicine Woman Tarot, this card is renamed Bounty. The guidebook says, nourish yourself and allow yourself to experience contentment. We have a mother nourishing her newborn. She's sitting under a clear, sunny sky. She's sitting up against the roots of a tree and the tree's trunk. On one side, she has a stream of water flowing beside her. And on the other, we see a basket of harvested vegetables. What we see in this card is while she is giving, she is also receiving. There's a sense of her maybe recharging, and she's sitting in a very relaxed and restful state. That's sort of the expression on her face as well, in this peaceful, sort of harmonious state. And she is wearing a pink skirt with, I think, look like roses on it. And this to me is very, very Venus. And I will just add that a lot of my cards have sun imagery, which would be our dot of yang within the yin, because the sun is the yangiest yang in the solar system. But what was interesting to take note of is the cards that have moon imagery instead. But this one has the sun, the Medicine Woman Tarot.
Yeah, sun and moon. Speaking of moon, in my next card in the Wild Unknown there's a moon in this one. For the Wild Unknown Tarot, this is Roman numeral 3, called the Empress. Keywords are creation, nature, and the mother. There's a white tree silhouetted in white against a dark background. The shape of this tree is more rounded. The edges of the tree and the silhouette is edged with like pink and like a darker pink and purple and lavender. And there is a waning crescent moon in the upper left-hand corner of this card. I probably said this when we were recording the Emperor, but I'll tell you this, listeners, if we didn't say it clearly when we were recording before, is that we, in researching both these cards, we're like, we have to do an episode where we have the Emperor and the Empress cards together, because that really, really helps me understand the energy of the card, because the Emperor card in this deck was a triangular shaped tree, and this one is a rounded tree. So the symbols used to represent that femininity or that yang or that soft or that yin or that softness or that earthiness are different in each deck's in relationship to possibly the Emperor card. And the author writes in their guidebook, when this card appears, it's pointing to either a maternal relationship in your life or the side of yourself that wants to love more. The Empress also suggests it's time for you to reconnect with nature Go outside tonight and find the moon. So this is a moon empress in the Wild Unknown deck.
In my Mystic Mondays deck, we have the Empress kind of reclined on what to me is like the earth element. There's this green sort of blobby thing that she's relaxed up against. And then her legs are in what looks like kind of an oceanic wave of water. Behind her, there's an orange sun, the dot of yang, and there's two large palm leaves, almost like they're fanning her. She's wearing a pineapple crown. Like if you cut a pineapple in half and scoop out the fruit, she's wearing the top of the pineapple as a crown on her head. She's holding some bananas in one hand and a pomegranate in the other.
Mm-hmm.
Pineapples can represent hospitality. I think a lot of people are familiar with like the pineapple as a symbol of like welcome and warmth. It can also represent prosperity, protection, and resilience because the fruit is in a spiky, protective outer shell. Bananas can also represent prosperity and protection for that same reason. The fruit is in a peel. Bananas are also said to represent wealth and fertility and can also represent sort of a yang aspect because of their shape.
Compared to the pomegranate, very yin and yang. Yeah.
Yes. And our pomegranate.
That is such a fun card.
And we talked about the pomegranate, but again, representing fertility, abundance, prosperity. There's a lot of similarities and overlaps in these fruits. Like Christina mentioned, it can also represent the cycle of life, death, and rebirth cycles, and is tied to the myth of Persephone. In the guidebook, she writes, "Remember to also nourish yourself, the greatest gift you can give unto others."
In the Secrets of the Witch's Garden, this is card Roman numeral 3. It's called Empress. Keyword is creativity. This card is an echo of the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. It feels so much more attainable. She seems so much more like a real person that I would see in nature. It's earthier, softer. Her surroundings are more lush. I feel like she is more deeply connected to nature. But the symbols are all still kind of there. The 12-starred crown, the cherry red dress, the golden pomegranate staff. This one has a golden scythe for that grain goddess imagery on the ground at her feet with a bowl of fresh fruits and fruits. The Venus symbol is on the pillow. She has a book with the grain on top of it representing her earthly knowledge. That this and in this one is depicted as being a pregnant woman. Her hands are resting on her lap. So it's an echo of it, but in this one, it is a little more, like I said, a little more earthy, a little more, she seems more relatable. That's the word I was going to say. This Empress to me is very relatable and in some ways more approachable, but also it seems like she has more sovereignty and more stuff to share, if that makes sense. More open and more welcoming. Yes, that's what I was going to say about that one. And when we do the one where we put this card next to the Emperor, they are, like Nicole said, the right and the left, right? the illustrators made a point to balance the right and the left aspects of these cards, so it will be really fun to see these cards together when we do that episode, because I think that she mirrors him in the way that she's holding her staff and the way that she's sitting, or opposes him. I don't know. We'll see when we get there.
In my Light Seers tarot deck, the card is really giving these beautiful Earth Mother vibes. A pregnant person is lovingly looking down at her belly, which is the literal planet Earth. She has leaves in her hair, a bracelet of like plant matter, and there's an ocean wave full of fish cloaking her shoulders. There's a moon overhead. I think this is my first and only card with moon imagery rather than the sun. And there's almost like these little droplets of moonlight that come down and encircle her belly. In the lower right corner of the card, there's a little bit of red, and this could be the presence of the yang energy, the dot of the yang in the yin. In the guidebook, I loved this. She says, work with the nature of your situation instead of against it. And that flowing, trusting energy that she was able to capture with that language is so very much what the Empress is about. I thought that was beautiful.
Yeah. My final card is the Sacred She. It's the 3 of Spirit, called Mother Nature. And in this card, it is just I wrote the word kaleidoscope, but it is just a collage. It is a element where every piece of that card is covered with color, life, designs, flowing, like the Fibonacci sequence and the golden ratio, and there's swans, and there's the earth, and there's the sun, and elements of the moon, and a rainbow, and flowers, flora, and fauna, and a face in the middle of Mother Nature. And Mother Nature is all the things overlaid and intertwined, and you can see individual elements, but it's all connected. It's all connected on this card. And it has all the elements. It has the sun, the moon, the fire, the water, the earth, the air, clouds, the stars, everything. It's such a beautiful card. You could just stare at it and pick out all the little pieces, but everything's connected. The author writes in their guidebook, take responsibility for the choices you make in supporting the exquisite intelligence of the natural world. Nature always has the last word. That everything on that card shows how all interconnected we are. We are connected to this planet. Take responsibility for your choices. Think about your choices. Because look how beautiful that card is. I want to be a part of that beautiful natural world. And we are a part of it. How are we choosing to be a part of it? This card reminds us we are a part of it. Every choice we make. Take responsibility.
There's so much detail, so much to take in. I see crescent moons, the sun, owls, turtles, bees, swans.
Do you see in the bottom center, there's a green woman with the earth above their head? There's another element too. There's an image within the image, and that could be us. We're the green person with the earth above us. Yeah, it is. It's a beautiful
I see
card.
the ancient auric type. Do you see them?
Well, I see the owls. Where are they on the card?
Do you see the turtles?
Oh, I got them. I see them. They're on either side of the earth, the small earth. Oh, there's dolphins. Look, there's horses, kangaroos, spiders. Yeah, this card. And then the bottom is the ocean, and there's crabs and nautilus shells and lotus. This card is so fun. And then there's a little person. Are we the person that's part all connected? The little human form in the middle of it all? Mother Nature. This is what Mother Nature looks like in my head. This is exactly what it looks like. Do you know what I mean? I don't even know if it has a face in my head, but if I did give it a face, it would be this face where it is overlaid with all of the beautiful symmetry and natural flowing lines of nature.
That's a fun one.
Yeah. Mother
My
Nature.
my last card is from the Muse. I really like this card. We have a cloaked figure with pink hair standing under what I see as olive branches. Olive branches can be associated with the sun, with Jupiter, the element of fire. They can also be linked to the goddess Athena and her energy of victory and wisdom.
Well, I like olives. Nobody else had an olive imagery. I really like that for the Empress because it's also a bit of sovereignty for the um anyway, go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I just got really excited about that. From my vantage point, I was waiting for you to tell me, but I thought they might have been lemons.
The guidebook mentions lemons, but when I first looked at it, I thought olives. And olives
Yeah.
can also symbolize peace, protection,
Mhm.
purification, and prosperity. We've heard these
Mhm.
words in other cards. And with the idea of sun, Jupiter, fire, we have that presence of yang energy. Instead of a crown made of 12 stars for each zodiac sign, the cosmos comes into play in a different way. So, her heart center, there's this like light burst coming out from her heart center and radiating out from this light burst. I count 6 celestial bodies. One is, I think, definitely Earth. One sort of looks like Saturn. From the guidebook, she says planets, worlds, lives, and loves spiral out auspiciously from her star seed core, and they spiral out to you. You can access this ancient creator energy and birth your creations from your most readily available resource, love. You are made of this same fairy dust and shaped from the elements that originated from deep within her Big Bang heart.
Oh, wow. Those are some beautiful cards. I want those decks now.
We have a collection of words. The Empress, meanings, readings, and interpretations include the embodiment of yin essence, relaxed, receptive, patient, attractive, and magnetic energy, the mother archetype, the divine feminine archetype, the goddess archetype, nurturing, supportive, protective, caring, and empathetic energy. Because this is Venus's card, we can think about creativity, potential, abundance, beauty, and luxury, as well as pleasure, joy, comfort, warmth, and radiance. Because we're in the earth energy, we can think about our connection to or with the natural world. That made me think of one of our podcasts from season 1, the rhythms and cycles of our interconnectedness, being in tune with our senses as well. From the Light Seer's field notes, she has this phrase, and it's finish this sentence: I'm ready to give birth to blank. and you fill in the blank with what you're ready to create and bring into the world. One word I didn't include in here, and maybe this is like very revealing about my stuff, but it's the word fertility. I had a
Mm-hmm.
hard time with, I don't know if it's the climate in which we politically live with women's bodies. Um,
Yeah.
I felt like leaving that off because it is so, to me, specific about pregnancy and
Mm-hmm.
giving birth to a human. And I think we can think about this card in a much more expansive way, and it does not have to even go into that.
Well, I am a 50-year-old woman who did not have children, and I did not want to, and it was a choice that I made. And so and maybe listeners, you've already kind of picked this up. It's sometimes if you spend time with me, you begin to know me, and you understand that that's my point of view, is that it's not for everybody. So I'm always looking for the deeper meanings of some of these cards. That in some decks, this is a pregnant woman, a nursing woman, this is a pregnant or nursing animal, which is beautiful and lovely, but there's more to it than that first glance meaning of fertility. I mean, the rabbit, that is a key fertility meaning, but also so much more once you start looking into it a little bit deeper. So if it resonates with you, listeners, then it resonates with you. But also, if it doesn't resonate with you, know that there is more to this card than that on that initial surface level glance. And I found it. I mean, and Nicole, you just mentioned it too, is that you're seeing it, you're feeling it, you're digging into it. Um, yeah, it it's choices that we make, and one of the biggest things in our current patriarchal society is that one size fits all for all genders. And that's not true. That's not true. That's not true. If you don't want to have children and that doesn't resonate with you, there's nothing wrong with you.
Mm-hmm. In reverse, the Empress can be about us rushing or pushing or forcing rather than being relaxed and trusting. Being overly engaged in yang energies or tactics, and a need to pull in or balance in more of a yin energy or yin approach. We could be blocked in feelings of love, especially self love. This could convey a disconnection from the natural world or our natural rhythms and cycles. It could mean a difficulty receiving love, help, praise, affection, or nurturance from other people. It could also mean feeling depleted, uninspired, stagnant, overwhelmed, overburdened, or perhaps being overbearing towards ourselves or other people.
And the question from the Secrets of the Witch's Garden to write the reversal is, what can I nurture? I can help you if you're resistant to the energy of this card. Are you ready for the message from the universe?
Yes.
I have the Celestial Bodies, Astrology, and Numerology Oracle deck. This is such a fascinating deck. I have 3 cards. So pick 1, 2, or 3. The first card is, it's a moon cycle, waxing crescent. The waxing crescent moon follows the new moon, and in this phase, the first buds of our intentions start to materialize. At this point, the sun and moon are 45 degrees apart, the distance between them growing as the moon waxes in her cycle. This aspect is called a semi-square. Here we see that details emerge around the intention we set at the new moon. Filaments of ideas sparkle, Still a time of quiet and gentle energy, but the beginning to warm, to become more activated. In light, the waxing crescent reminds us that growing comes from delicate first steps being taken. This phase of the lunar cycle is one of tender foundational work. In shadow, the waxing crescent is sometimes weighed down by memories of the past cycle. And the question to ask yourself with the waxing crescent moon is, when you initiate a plan, do you embody the waxing crescent mentality next, or do you leap ahead into something more activated? Waxing crescent energy, the second card, 6th house.
Ooh.
Yeah. The 6th house, this guidebook has the 6th house as the conscience. About this house. In the 6th house, we find labor. This stage talks to us about the importance of routine, rituals, of service to ourselves and others, and all forms of nurturing through health and wellness. Circadian flow and all that comes from honoring the necessary, measured approach to living. Day job, discipline, restriction, responsibility. Earth connection also emanates from this house. Healing with materials from the earth and rigorous application of the intellect. Okay. The question, how do you work with your own sense of structure? Do you adhere to a rhythm? If so, are you supported by it?
It's important.
And yeah, right? And the mantra for the 6th house, the rhythms of sun and moon mark my days. That is probably one of the nicest. That's a different way to look at the 6th house. That's nice. Okay. And then finally, void of course.
Ooh.
After the moon has made her last aspect to other planets in a particular sign, as she moves unaspected to the next sign, we say she is void of course. She carries no energy in particular from any sign or planet, and in this neutral state, she has a neutral influence. When the moon is void of course, we are advised to find rest and retreat, to refrain from initiating matters of future importance. They likely will have to be readdressed later in the cycle. This is not a phase of lunar cycle, but a common astrological phenomenon. In light, the void of course moon is a reminder to rest, reflect, and find pause. In shadow, this lunar movement can bring frustration through lack of culmination for our projects, endeavors, and desires. Question: how do you respond to the call to take a break? Well, there's 2 moon cards and a 6th house, which is a nice, this is a very earthy card. Is the 6th house
Virgo's house?
Yeah. I really like the way they the conscience. I really liked how it was described in this guidebook. Thank you, universe.
Thank you, universe.
This deck is a lot of fun. I could, if I just drew one of these cards a day, I would learn so much.
Yeah.
Will I do it, listeners? Tune in next week to find out.
We are back next week with the Lovers because we are starting Gemini season. So until then, listeners, thank you and we love you. Bye.
Bye. Thank you for listening to this episode. The Radical Podcast is created and produced by Nicole and Christina.
Music by Van Horton. His Instagram is Van Horton Music. Stay in touch with us at linktr.ee/theradicalpodnc.